Good morning, world.
Good morning, world.
I hope you liked our Ren episodes, right?
I liked it.
If you haven't seen, you got to go back and watch those. We got another one coming up, too. This one, though, is, I don't know if you've heard of ChatGPT. So it's the artificial intelligence program. It's open source that can basically write papers for you, write essays for you for school, all kinds of stuff this thing had. But my question is, after exploring this, is can you trust ChatGPT to have a neutral viewpoint?
This is going to be new to me. I'm going to be reacting to whatever Brian says, so stay tuned. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. All right, guys, before we get into this episode, I was prepared for this, Cedric. I did my homework. I did my due diligence. Mm-hmm. Thank you. But are you prepared?
Like Brian says, are you prepared? Do you have enough food, water, and other essentials to get you through tough times? If not, check out My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's #1 preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families just like yours. Right now, you can save 25% off their popular 4-week emergency food kit, which will keep you well fed for 4 weeks worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks, totaling over 2,000 calories a day. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. In fact, you may need it a lot sooner than that.
So don't wait. Go to www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. That's www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. Yes, he's still eating the same pancakes. Did you reach out to our guy to see if we can start sponsoring other things?
Yeah, he said he's going to see where we are at the end of February.
Okay. Yeah, putting us off, man.
Yeah.
That's why we need your help. Your help. And somebody said, don't ask for donations because that's not what it is. Just help out Cedric and Brian.
Yes.
You can
support our channel.
You can support our channel with this Cash App right here. And if you support our channel with $40 or more, give us your information, we will send you a hat. We don't want you to get something from. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you can support us by just buying our products. Go on cedricandbrian.com, and there's links there to ways you can support us.
Yep.
All right, should we get into this?
Yes.
Now you looked in a little bit into it. You even said Jordan Peterson. You watched a little bit.
And the only reason I looked into it because you suggested it.
Yeah.
I had never heard of this before.
So I'm fairly new to it. I've been seeing it for about the last 2-3 weeks. I've been popping up on different things. I got to check this out. Well, and I want to tell people right now, I don't do this. Not saying that I may not in the future, but I asked ChatGPT, and this is after me and my daughter were having fun. She was writing songs. She would say, write a song, Cardi B style, about breakfast, and it was totally Cardi B style, because then she said country version of it, and it was completely different.
Right.
You know, now, about eggs and pancakes and all
tell
that.
them, my misconception was like, well, it's a search engine like Google.
Yeah.
And you said, no, it's way more than that.
Yeah, so a search engine, basically, you type in your keywords, and you can find out articles about it. This will literally write. And here's the example. I'll bring it up right here. So I wrote, write me a YouTube episode about race relations in the United States. Okay? First time I've ever done this, so don't accuse me of plagiarism here or cheating. So right here, here's a sample script for a YouTube episode about race relations in the United States. So this tells you just where this can go. And this is why this is more than Google.
Look in the parentheses, intro music and animation.
Yep.
Host appears on screen with a smile.
I guess I'd have to say there's 2 hosts. You know, I don't know how specific you can be. So it says, hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Breaking It Down. Today, we will be discussing a topic that has been on the forefront of American society for decades, race relations. So again, you can see it's setting it up. It's going to make lazy people.
Serious tone.
Yeah, then you transition. All right, so this is why this is different than Google. It's not just a search, and this is what I was trying to explain to Cedric. You can have your whole outline here, and you can do this for school. I won't mention any names. I know somebody who's using it to write. It'll write code. You can write a whole website on this. So if a client comes to you and says, I need a website that has these topics in it, you can ask ChatGPT.
Can I share what Jordan Peterson said?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, Jordan Peterson, you know how we feel about him. Incredible, intelligent guy. But he's written 2 books, one called 12 Rules for Life and one called Beyond Order. He went into ChatGPT and he said, write me an essay on the 13th rule for beyond order in a style similar to the King James Bible and the Tao Te Ching. And he said within 3 seconds, he got a 4-page essay on the 13th rule for beyond order. And he said that the scary part, it was that it was written in a style exactly as he would have written it.
Yeah.
He looked at it and said, this is how I would have written it.
Yeah.
And he says, like, what's it called, predictive text? You know when you're texting your friends and the word fills in afterwards? That's just a text message. We're talking about a 3 to 4 page essay where it just writes the entire thing for you.
Yeah, and this is free. This is open source. And yes, like Cedric said, you can see it think and type. And no, it's not canned, or it's not a boxed response, because my daughter would ask the same question twice, like write a song, and it wrote a completely different song with the same subject.
This is going to be hell for teachers
I know.
in English class.
So they're comparing it to when calculators first came out. How are we going to get kids not to go home and do their homework with a calculator? Well, you just give in.
Yeah.
Same with Google. When Google first came out, how are we going to get kids to go to the library if they can just Google it? Well, you don't get kids to go to the library anymore. That's the short answer. This is the next phase. We're going to have to adapt. But here's where this episode comes in. Here's what it says on one of the things that ChatGPT wrote. Host, despite progress made in the fight for racial equality, the reality is that Black, Indigenous, and people of color still face the daily discrimination of injustice in areas such as housing, education, healthcare, and criminal justice systems. So it is doing the woke line here. It's using the terms BIPOC right off the bat. So already it's coming from a place of one, I don't want to say demographic, but one political side, because it really is a political side. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but it basically went on being pro-left on the argument. So the default was to come out with something that you would hear on MSNBC, CNN. So then what I said, okay, well, let's check it out. I said, give me the counter argument. So you don't even have to restate it. It knows the whole context of the statement that you started in this chat. So here's a sample argument of the above episode of race relations in the United States. So it's giving you now the counter argument. That's all I said. So hello, welcome to the episode of The Other Side. So it's setting it up, transition to serious tone. Okay, here's where it's different. While it is true that the United States has faced challenges in terms of race relations, it's important to acknowledge the progress that has been made over the years. From the end of slavery to the election of the first Black president, there have been significant milestones in the fight for racial equality. So now you're getting something that would, let's say, come from Fox News.
Right.
Okay? I had to ask it, though.
Yes.
So the default was one way, but that's fair. Okay? It gave the counter argument. So now I wanted to test it. Okay? So here's what I did. You guys probably know about this. I typed in, write me a YouTube episode on the Memphis police story about the 5 police officers. So I didn't even name names here.
Right.
This is how smart this thing is. You want to read this?
Which one, the introduction?
Yeah, you read the introduction.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today we are talking about the Memphis police scandal and the story of the 5 officers involved. This is a story that has made headlines in the past few weeks, and it's important to understand the details and content of what happened.
Okay, so it went on and explained what happened. Those of you who don't know what happened, you're living under a rock. It's basically...
It's Tyree Nichols.
Tyree Nichols was the kid who was just pulled over for supposedly reckless driving. If you don't know about it, well, let's get to... You probably know the story. So what I did at the end, and I did this a number of times. I just did it again right before we filmed this episode. I said, what were the races of the police and the victims? Cedric, what did ChatGPT say here?
The races of the police officers and the victim involved in the Memphis police scandal have not been specified in the information given. That's weird because everyone knows.
Well, not only that, so what did I do right before you got here? I asked it again today.
What was the race of the police officers in the Memphis case involving Tyree Nichols? The race of the police officers involved in the Memphis case involving Tyree King has not been widely reported. Oh, they mixed 2 Black guys together.
Well, not only
Rodney
that,
King and Tyree Nichols.
But there's, and we'll get to that in a second. That's not an accident. And that's going to be my conspiracy theory that I told Cedric about. But again, this was on February 1st. Okay, so anybody of you know this has been going on for over a week now. Everybody knows the race of the police officers.
Yes.
Okay, all 5 police officers were black. Even ChatGPT, who did a good balanced thing with race relations, is not telling you. So I thought maybe they just don't put race in it. So then I went back and I said, what was the race of the police officer in the George Floyd case? ChatGPT.
Derek Chauvin, the police officer involved in the death of George Floyd, is white.
Had no problem telling us that.
I knew that.
So that's where I got an idea for this episode is ChatGPT is coming. It's here. It's huge. We're not going to stop it. It's going to make a lot of people real lazy. Just like Google made us lazy. We don't have to go now out to research. We do it all online. Calculators, we don't have to write down math problems anymore. We just punch it in. Now we don't have to write essays. We really don't have to write an episode, but I did not cheat on this one. I'm using this as an example. But obviously, it's going to be biased because, it's probably coming from your Silicon Valley type people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They lean one way overwhelmingly, and now this is my proof, my what's the Veritas? This is my Project Veritas moment.
Yes, the truth.
or the other guy. What's the other guy that came up with all the file? Anyway, I know this isn't that, but this was my digging just a little bit is showing. But Cedric, do you want me to let him know my other conspiracy thing?
Yes.
Let's lead into this. So I'm prepared.
We talked about this the other day.
So before we get to that, because I don't want you to pimp it, I want Cedric to react to a couple things. So we're kind of segueing into the whole Tyree Nichols case. So here is somebody. This is in Europe, in Britain.
Okay.
So she is her name's Amarn Aiton. She's a Black Lives Matter activist. They're still around, huh?
They're getting ready for the next election.
Oh my goodness.
Getting prepped.
Here's
ready.
what she says about, and I'm sure you've heard the narrative that even though it was 5 black officers against a black kid, it's still white supremacy. Yeah. So here we go.
5 black people. But for me personally, this is about an abuse of power and a disregard of human life, and those individuals need to be accountable for their actions. That I need to
Don't disagree. What's it got to do with racism and white supremacy?
So
why are white people responsible for this?
Okay, so people could also argue that this is due to internalized racism, which is a byproduct of societal or institutional racism, also referred to as white supremacy.
So black police officers become white supremacist racists who kill black people because they work in an atmosphere of white supremacy. Is that it?
I can explain it a little bit better. Okay, so anti-blackness is baked into society here and in the US, and black people are not impervious to that. And so what people fail to realize...
So black people are anti-black?
Yeah, this exactly. So let me explain it. I know it's very confusing. Nonsense. So let me explain it, Piers. So what people fail to realize is that when black people have to contend with racism, they can end up internalizing it. And that can result in low self-esteem, self-loathing, and rejection of one's community. And when you...
Okay, so what do you...
This is what I've been hearing all along on the Joyner Lucas video.
I know. So I'm fast forwarding through here. We don't want to hear all this nonsense.
And when you combine those feelings, which as we know are also referred to as unconscious bias, when you have those feelings and they are compounded by hierarchy and power, it can lead to an individual abusing said power and projecting their self-hate onto another. And this is why, in my opinion, why we see black and white police officers killing more black people than we do white.
Okay. For one, I don't know if you looked up the statistics. So on TV, we definitely see more cops killing black people.
Yes.
Absolutely see that on TV. But what's the reality of that?
Yeah.
It's not the reality, right?
It's not the reality at all. And I'm forgetting the name of the young man. This was back in Arizona. And maybe you know the name, who was killed by cops. And then we also had,
it was pretty bad, but it was a white guy, so it never made the news.
Right. And then Tony Tempa, we bring that up a lot.
Yep.
But no one likes to talk about that. And I want to just address all the comments I got in the video. We always said that I want to be white. I would not want to be white in this day and age. You guys are catching hell. So 5 white cops had killed Tyree Nichols, it would have been national news. But now the media is trying to funnel it down to make it a local story again, as it should be.
Well, and you're going to see here, I'm going to bring Zuby on in a second.
Okay.
But they made this point right here that they said to this woman, you don't believe this, and people don't believe this, because if they believed that this had anything to do with white supremacy or racism, we would see the same amount of anger in the streets as we saw with George Floyd.
Yep.
And we don't, because as much as they keep trying to push this narrative, people are finally going, no, these were 5 black guys, and 5 black guys that shouldn't have been cops probably. They had to lower the standards just because Memphis is such an S-hole that the crime is through the roof. So it's like everybody's quitting because nobody wants to be a cop. Like you said, who would want to be a white cop in a predominantly black area anyway?
Right. Yeah, you lose either way.
So then they hire these people. Then at least two of them came in after the standards were lowered. And this is what you get. Let me just play Zuby's thing here too. So last one. Oh, wait. I think it's coming up right here. You know who Zuby is?
It's a wise because of racism, which includes internalized racism, Pierce.
Right. I think that's complete nonsense.
You would, because you're a white man and you don't understand.
Exactly. I'm white, therefore my skin color.
See, that's the comment we get. I can't say anything about race relations because I'm white and I won't understand. That goes back to the episode of What is a Woman?
Yes.
When he asked the person dressed up funny and said, what is a woman? Well, I'm not a woman, so I can't comment on that. And he goes, well, what is a cat?
What is a cat? Yes.
All right, here comes Zuby.
Means because you don't have the lived experience.
My skin colour means I have nothing to do with it. All right, well, let me go to a black man and see if he's allowed to have a view. Zuby, what's your view?
He's another Uncle Tom, right?
Okay, so I agree with the first half of everything that was said there. I agree that the video was disgusting. I agree that this is an issue of training, and I agree that this is an issue of the human heart. I think that any attempt to put the blame on this in any way, shape, or form on racism or white supremacy or white people in general is absolutely ridiculous. I also think it's pretty degrading because this sort of idea stems from the notion that black people, black men, black women, that we do not have full agency and responsibility and therefore accountability for our actions.
So that's basically what we've been saying the whole time.
I love the look she has given him. You, Uncle Tom, selling out, sap, sucking. The look
Don't you know everything is white supremacy, Cedric? Zuby, shame on you.
But it's like, how do you win in this situation? And again, prayers and thoughts go out to Tyree Nichols and his family and friends. This is horrible. And it should be an issue of 5 cops. And like you said earlier, 2 of the cops were brought on quickly because they lowered the standards for police officers and what it takes now to wear the badge, especially in Memphis. But if 5 white cops had done that, you realize this would have been an ongoing story nonstop, just like George Floyd.
Oh, there would be peaceful protests all over. Yeah. Mostly fiery, but peaceful protests everywhere.
Tyree Nichols, he's not going to get his gold monument. He's not going to get his gold casket. He's not going to get statues put all around the country because it was 5 black cops.
Yeah. But you want me to give him my take on this?
Yes, why don't you do that?
Okay, just as ChatGPT, and that's funny because I didn't catch that. Cedric just caught that, how they mixed up his first name and they put King. That's because they're trying to bring Rodney King back in. For those of you who are too young, Rodney King was when we had, in our lifetime, the first bad race riots. There were some in the 60s, but we were too young or not born yet. So Rodney King was beat up by a bunch of cops, white cops, obviously. Here's why they're bringing it in.
Do you remember the white cop, the head sergeant's name?
I just blanked on it.
Coon.
Oh, was it?
K-O-O. That made me laugh.
So anyways, what happened with Rodney King is, this is when they were first starting to wear the cameras. It was caught. He was at a gas station or something. He ran from the cops. He got taken down and beat excessively, and it was bad. It was really bad. But nothing really happened. I mean, there was protest after that. But when the city burned down is when the cops went to trial. And the cops got off. They said this wasn't excessive. Whether you agree with it, disagree with it, whatever the case may be, people lost their minds. This was before BLM, but the riots in the streets, innocent. Who was the guy this blonde trucker got pulled out of his truck?
Reginald Denny.
Pulled out of his truck, hit by bricks, lost an eye, almost murdered on camera in front of the news cameras because the city lost its mind because these white cops got away with beating a black man. Now, Rodney King didn't even die from this incident. He got beat up pretty bad, but he came out, and then the famous line is, "Can't we all get along?"
Let's get along.
Rodney King has since passed away for other reasons. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because we're not seeing the cities burning down now. There was some looting after this happened. But now we're in a no-win situation because these cops are going to go on trial. Okay, remember, think back. Rodney King, the riots didn't happen from the incident. They happened from the trial. Here's what's going to happen. If these cops get convicted, which they should, for killing this kid, guess what the narrative is going to be? Look what happened with Rodney King. The white cops got off. These guys got convicted because they're black. Riots in the streets.
Yeah.
Now, flip side. These cops get off. ACAB. We're going to have all cops are bastards. Riots in the streets. There's a no-win. When this goes to trial, I don't think there's going to be a win.
I hope you're wrong, but it seems like it's the prep work before Antifa and BLM strike again before the next presidential election.
Exactly, because guess what in the trial is going to happen? It's going to be somewhere coming up to the next election.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I see on the news heads now, and this is when you know what they're just getting fed stuff, because now you're seeing all these people bring up Rodney King. This has nothing to do with Rodney King other than that it was a black man who got beat up. This has happened over and over again, and white people, like Cedric said, there was a case in Arizona where a white kid got murdered by the cops. Crickets. You don't hear anything about it. They're bringing up Rodney King because they're setting the stage. This is what I could be. I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope I'm 100% wrong. But why are they bringing this up and they're tying these together? Because the trial's going to happen, and that's when they're going to pump this up. Because right now there's no elections.
Right.
It happened at a very inconvenient time for people on the left.
Yeah. And it's sad they're trying to make this about race. And I love what Tyree Nichols' mom said. If you haven't heard her, try and find her video where she says, "I don't want you guys to riot. I don't want you to loot. I don't want you to set fire to anything because that is not what my son would have wanted. We're peaceful people. We want everyone to get along." And basically this isn't about racism. It's about 5 black cops who are terrible at their job. End of story.
Yeah. Yep. I know. It's just, again, like I said, I hope I'm wrong about this being a setup.
You're very rarely wrong.
They say they say that don't let any good tragedy go to waste.
Yeah.
And that has been the mantra. We always say, just because we lean, that's the mantra that the left uses. I know the right uses it too. We just have been seeing it so much more when the political races get close that we see Black Lives Matter coming out. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. We got a big election coming up next year now, huh? Gee, yeah. What year is it? 2020? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's weird though.
Where does the time go?
And be ready. Michelle Obama's going to be running for president. Yeah. You heard it here first.
All right. They got to get Joe out first.
Oh yeah, they're trying. The left is trying now. He's served his purpose.
All right, guys, go check out ChatGPT, but just keep in the back of your mind that it does seem to lean one way, just with the examples that we've used. Let us know your experience, and we'd love to hear it because we love when you guys comment.
Yes, absolutely.
And get ready for next Tuesday. All you guys have been wanting us to react to Chalk Outlines by Ren, so we are going to do that for you.
Yes, looking forward to it. All right, we wrapping up?
Wrapping up.
All right, you guys. Please keep Tyree Nichols' family, his family, and everybody in the city of Memphis, and everybody in your prayers and thoughts. But make sure you subscribe.
Before you do that, just
ring that bell.
Just to go on that. How can have we heard anything about Tyree Nichols?
About him personally?
Yeah, I know he didn't have any police record.
Right.
So as far as we know,
I don't want to put it out there, but I heard, and you know what they say about that. I heard that he had some type of relationship with one of the police officers' ex-wives or ex-girlfriends.
Okay, well, this is speculation, so no, I want to, like George Floyd, like the difference between this and George Floyd. So George Floyd, you know, there's golden caskets, there's statues. This guy was a career criminal who was high on drugs when he got taken down, and there's still controversy on if it was Derek Chauvin that killed him because he was on him too long, or it was a combination of that and all the drugs in his system. This kid, for all we know,
I heard Tyree was an upstanding guy. Worked at FedEx, was in his grind, was about his business.
Yeah.
Was 200 feet away from the house. It's kind of hard to listen to the video and watch it when he's crying out for his mom at the end. Yeah. It just rips your heart out.
All right, so sorry, I didn't mean to stop your closing.
That's all right.
Close it down.
Like, subscribe, ring that bell, and share our channel with everyone you know. And if you guys want to know more about us, go to ChatGPT and say, tell us more about the two incredible YouTube content creators,
I just tried
Cedric and Brian.
just so you can see. I said, write an article about the YouTube channel Cedric and Brian. It said, an error occurred.
An error occurred trying to find them, or an error occurred when we tried to do our own channel?
Error occurred when I tried to do that. So
that should be interesting.
I guess we're not big enough.
Until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. We'll see you later.